Well, g'day guys. I've just finished the second plenum video. Today it's the 21st of January 2019, and I get to work today, and one of the boys down there said, "Oh, Jace, you know, my daughter's ute. I think they must be around about the 2000 sort of 2010 sort of model cars. You need to see the hood lining all hanging down. The fabric delaminates from the foam and the board." He said, "Oh, can you I know you're an upholsterer, can you do us a favour?" And I said, "Oh, yeah, piece of cake." So his daughter's got a Falcon ute, and so this is the actual headboard out of the Falcon ute. It's quite cool actually. It's all sort of moulded. It's sort of a foamy type thing. Pretty basic. It's very thin. Now what's actually happened is you'll see the foam. The foam's just basically died. It's as sticky as all get out. It's just terrible. So the foam's dead, and of course there's the cover. So it's woeful. So we've got a lot of cleaning to do, and got to get rid of all of this old foam. So what I'm probably going to do is just glue it. If I don't have enough foam there, I'll just glue it to the actual board. So whenever you see these cars with the hood lining hanging down, it's not that hard. You just got to get the board out. Now utes and station wagons are easy. Cars, sedans, well, you might be able to fold it to get it out. Yeah, I think you might be able to fold it to get it out of the back door or the front door. Somebody's actually had a bit of a repair on this. They've used glue on that edge there. So that's not a good thing. It's going to make it difficult. Oh, so that's the fabric. It's just completely fallen off. Okie dokie. Now, I've just phoned my mate. This fabric, it's all dirty. It's got shit all over the back of it. Somebody's tried to do a repair on it before and really messed it up. It's got glue. It's going to be lumpy and bumpy. Now, I don't have, normally I do, but I don't have any of the 1/4-inch foam that goes over this. Now it's quite a nice shape already, and if you use a thicker fabric, you don't actually need to use the foam. So I've got a brilliant velour type fabric. It's got a pile to it, and it's dark grey. This is light grey, and I just phoned him and asked if he'd give me the thumbs up to use the darker colour, and he said, "Yeah, go for gold, go for gold." The fabric was given to me for free, so no charge, of course. Yeah, so I'm just going to get rid of that fabric. Now there is a pile on this fabric, forward and back. Just hack out a piece. It's pretty basic. Now you can do this. You just need to go down to Bunnings and get a can of spray contact adhesive, and it'll do this exactly the same job as I buy it in 20 litres. It's the same stuff. Secret is, don't wet the fabric up too much, just smatter it on, and because if you wet the fabric you'll actually see it through the other side. Well, probably not on this fabric because it's so thick, but if you're using that same velour, and you hit that hard with the spray, it'll bleed through and it'll just destroy it. It'll look terrible. So just nice thin splatter, but cover the whole area, and cover it really well, and let it dry off. And exactly the same for this. Because I don't have the foam, Just check it for any lumpy bits that might have stuck to it. Because lumpy bits, even under thick fabric, will show up. Okie dokie. Now, because this shape is cupped, what really it's like probably trying to put on, say, sign writing stickers. Okay, it's not much difference. There's a little bit more pliability or play in the fabric because you've got the weaves that do move, but we've got to get it up over those, into those sort of concave corners, which means the chances of getting a pucker are pretty high, unless you do it sort of carefully and slowly. I'm talking about these corners here, because the fabric's going to lay flat over that area and it's going to want to gather up into these corners, so you've got to sort of smooth it out. Yeah, so I'm going to try and swish up. See, if you actually pull and tug at the fabric, what could happen is that could distort that shape. Okay, now you don't want that shape to distort because it's not going to fit back into the card. If you were just using the old fabric, no problems at all, because that's like stretchy as, stretches in any direction. Easy. And you can actually buy that type of fabric from, there's motor trimming places around, you can buy that type hood lining material. The only problem is when you do spray glue on it, you've really got to go light. You've just got to just dust the stuff on, and because if you just go, it's going to bleed through and it'll look terrible. Oh yeah, this is looking good. This is what I was saying about this section here. It's going to want to pucker in here. Yeah, if you pull it, if you have to lift the fabric, what happens is you lift the glue, and the glue lets go. Time to trim it up. Anyway, that's it. That easy. Took half an hour. Pretty quick, pretty easy. And like I say, if you don't have a spray gun with the glue, just go to Bunnings and buy the spray cans. Probably need 2 or 3. Oh, g'day guys. It's 26th of January 2019. Captain's log. It's Australia Day weekend, so there's a lot of dudes getting around with Aussie flags all over their cars and utes and whatnot. Another warm one. Had to work today, wasn't impressed, but it's still nice to have a bit of an extra day off to work on the old beast here. So I thought I'd start onto this the plenum cover, and just looking at it, actually it's a bigger job than what I sort of thought. I thought, oh, this would be the easy part, but it's pretty involved, especially because I have to put a new lip on down the bottom and fix all the rust in the whole thing. On this top corner in here, I actually have to cut that away so it actually allows it to sit down. It's up about 5mm, So obviously when I've put this new steel in here, it's, you know, I haven't sort of, you know, gone the full scoop or depth that I should have. But I don't think it's going to affect anything. Once I get that bottom flap attached to the cover, then I can remove the whole thing and then start working at getting it to fit. Oh, that's a cobweb. I was actually warned by Adam, who's getting married next weekend, by the way. Congratulations, Adam and Lisa. Done well, good effort. You know, to block it underneath the torque box, because the car can, like that. Now, I had it blocked while I was doing the bulk of the rust repairs, because, you know, you're cutting a lot of steel out and you want to replace it when the car's sort of static. But I took them out when I started to sort of POR 15 and make this lip around here. And, you know, I figured, well, you know, I've done all the rust repairs, there's more steel in there now, so it's not going to sag. Yep, that's good. So 2mm are now down to probably 1.5. We've got those holes lined up. We've got these holes lined up. And we've got these ones here, which are about 2mm out. So if you look at the black line, that's where we were. And if I just jiggle that back a little, we're sort of there, you know. We're still about 2mm out, but you know, that one's spot on. And that's spot on. And these ones here are just sitting high. Yeah, and they'll pull down anyway. So we're there. That was the two black lines there. So yeah, it's got to be careful of that stuff. 44 degrees is pretty bloody hot, really. And I've got a friend up in a place called Hay in New South Wales, and some mates who are also working in a place called Griffith. It got to 48. So anyway, look, what I'm going to do, it's about 5:30 or 6 at night now. I've jacked this car right up high, sitting on those axle stands underneath the torque boxes. I'm going to leave it there overnight. Okay, before I really do anything, I want to get this thing completely set up into the exact right position. So I'm going to just forget about those for the moment. I really need to get this brace into the correct position inside or underneath the plenum cover. So that's really the first thing that we've got to sort out. Now these holes here, this is I think the screws for the this is the screw holes for the scuttle. Now they could be blown out a little bit. Could have had oversized screws put in them. They certainly feel like they've had oversized screws in them by comparison to the smaller one down the other end. So I'm going to actually tap these down so that they're like little volcanoes now, and I'm sure that wasn't what they were supposed to be in the factory, so I'm going to tap them down and just fill in with a bit of weld as well. Close them up again, and when I go to assemble the car I'll re-drill them and with a small hole, and then the screw should have good purchase. Okay, so onto this now. So to do that, the areas underneath where the spot welds were, I don't know if I've filmed it or not, I just, with a little Dremel grinder, I just ground the POR 15 away from where the spot weld was going to be. Good thing about doing this now is I can actually put some POR 15 on it. So it's temporarily tacked in. So what we need to do now is wedge that back so that these are lined up. And I can tack them into position so that we know that everything's pretty much back to where it should be. I'll push this back and clamp it down. So I want to clamp that into a sort of close enough position. Clamp it down on the other side, and that way I can actually tack this into location. That's the flap, the add-on flap. So once that's tacked in position, and then I can get it off. We know that that's all in the right spot. This whole exercise was to get this flap, this seam, or whatever it is, that fucking flap thing, and the plenum into the correct position, so then I can carry on with my rust repairs. So this whole bloody exercise is just purely to find a location, the correct location for that. Well, good morning guys. It's Monday morning, it's the public holiday. It's quite early in the morning. I've come out to do some work. It's going to get hot today, so I thought, well, I'll come out here while it's cool and work until it gets unbearable. As you know, last night I tacked that in place, tacked that in place. Now I've clamped it here so that when I go to put it together after doing the rust repairs on that plenum cover, it just basically fits into position. So okie dokie. So I'm not sure if you can see that new lip, but that's all there. The good thing about getting that in position in the right spot now is I can basically go ahead and do all the rust repairs on this, knowing that that is in the correct position. And yeah, just take it from there. Okay, I'm going to start in the center, and this section here, even around that corner, which is going to be a little problem, but I'll deal with that in a minute. I'm going to cut the section out here. I'm going to cut it out at about that height there to there. I won't weld it down the sides. Okay, so it'll be attached at the top and at the bottom, but not on the sides. Then I'll work my way across. I'll cut out that weld, that holding tack, around to say there, and then I'll patch that section in. Same story. Attach it to the bottom and the top, and then I'll weld that seam down. Okay. I don't want to do any of the. I don't want to have to unpick welds. So I'll work my way across in both directions. And the thing is that the steel in that section is not too bad, but there's a gap at the bottom, and I don't really want to fill that with weld, because it'll just get too much heat into it. And yeah, so that's my plan. Hope it works. I'll flick the camera on once in a while while I'm doing it. Pretty bad rust. One of the things that you guys have contributed on the forum, on the sort of the comments, is make sure you clean your steel down. So I'm going to do the right thing, clean this down and clean the rust off, and get it all shiny, and weld this in properly. So. Well, good morning, folks. What is it? I don't want to say. It's actually Tuesday. I'll be about 27th or something like that. Yeah, around about there. I don't know. I haven't looked at my watch. It's an RDO. Yesterday was a public holiday because of Australia Day weekend. And construction, we get an extra day. So it's Tuesday morning. I came out here at 6 in the morning. It was dark. It's going to get hot today, so I wanted to smash this thing out as much as I could. I've got some office work to do, so I'll do some office work and when it gets too hot, and then I'll come back out again in the evening. Pretty much there. All the rust has been replaced in there. The weld on the bottom seems a little bit dodgy, but I'll put a bit of filler in there because I've welded it from the back, so it's not nice, and it's nicer from the back, from the inside than the outside actually. But that doesn't matter. It's strong. What I'm going to do, we've got a little bit of, I think the heat sort of affected it. I'd weld a little bit, so keep the temperature right out of the steel. But we've still got a little bit of, we've had a little bit of movement in there. It's all lined up with the spot welds at the top. I haven't tacked it on yet, but so we've got a little bit of movement in that top front there. But see, the vice grip clamps, they close it up nicely. Okay, like everything, nothing lasts forever. But there's a pretty new tube. I only hate opening a new tube of things just for a little job, and that's all it was. So the tube's still full, but I just couldn't clear the end of it. Tried it with drill bits and whatnot. So anyways, I've cut it open. I'm going to need to probably use this whole thing anyway. So here we go. I'm just going to drop that into that. It's really good. So I've got the holes drilled, they're 50mm apart. These ones of course are pre-existing. And a POR the entire underneath, rust included, those rust sections that still need to be replaced. Everything else is mint, so that's all good. You might see that pretty poxy looking weld in there, but I'm not going to clean that off. There's no point, absolutely no point whatsoever. There's no point even wasting the grinding stone on it. decide to paint over those holes. POR 15 is going to coat the inside of the hole, the section where I want to actually tack to. But what I'll do is I'll just put the Dremel, put a little stone on the Dremel and just clean them out. Because I do want to take POR 15 up as far as I can take it. It's going to burn back, but that's alright. So this is the boneyard. Scraps and bits and pieces. On this one, the ZF, the marquee, you can see there, it runs out to a little dart, and it runs up to the windscreen at about that position there. So it doesn't even come out to this. Doesn't even come out towards anywhere near that A-pillar. Okay, so that's the marquee. On the XB, this is an XB by the way, believe it or not, severely plundered. It continues all the way out to the A-pillar there, so you can see that's the top plenum cover. So it goes all the way to the A-pillar, which I don't see. I was thinking about just running it straight up there and finishing it there on the other car. A good bit of canter. Yeah. Just been cleaning out the holes for the spot welds. That's the new steel, so I've just been using that Dremel bit there and just cleaning them up, so I've got a nice exposed steel edge to tack to. Okay, so I've tacked it in 3 places across the top edge, so all of the spot welds line up beautifully. Now I just have to drop this down in here, clamp her up, and I'll just go through and I'll work my way out, and then I'll go up the top and finish the top off. One of the rewarding things about making these videos of this resto, I've got people, you know, who are following the videos, who are subscribed, and you know, and everybody is, you know, just top notch. I haven't come across any, you know, idiots or bad feedback or anything like that. It's just you're all really good people. And one of the guys from Sydney, a guy called Marco Prismic, has been following the videos. You know, I look back through our conversations and we've had a bit of a chat here and there. Well, he's sort of quite generously decided to contact me the other week and say, you know, I've got a few bits and pieces, you know, probably obviously just sitting in the shed. Maybe I don't even know what they are. And he said, you know, I'd like to sort of donate them to the cause. And I thought, well, fine, mate, appreciate that. So he boxed up some parts and bits and pieces, and so it's a bit of an exciting parcel. It's quite large. Don't know what's in there, so I'll open it up. But I do notice the postage on this is $52.25. Now that means Marco's put his hand in his pocket to actually pay for something, you know, for this car, and I'm like, oh, for me as well, you know, and I'm like, bloody, that's so generous, and you know, it's just a lovely gesture. So if you're ever down in Melbourne there, Marco, just look us up and we'll take you out and give you a rewarding meal or a beer or something at least, you know. But no, I really appreciate it. It's quite special. Okay, so we'll get this thing open, eh? I have no idea what's in here. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. I've got a set of genuine Fairlane hubcaps in really good nick. Wow. That's so cool. They're in really good condition. There's one there, there's a little bit of a pucker in that, but mate, Marco, thank you very much. That's really cool. They're almost like a 12 slot type pattern on them. I'm not sure if these might be the, I'm not sure if they are the genuine type or not, but boy, thank you. Now, that's it. Well, there you go. Fairlane. So they are Fairlane. I have to have a look and see what hubcaps the ZF come out with, but they're in really good nick. Well, here you go. I've got just the stuff to clean them up too. Wow. Oh, I'm going to have a play. Well, it's only just a quick blast with the cotton polishing wheel. But boy, man, they come up really well. I have to look up in the in my archives and photos and whatnot to see what sort of hubcaps they came out with. If these are ZF hubcaps, I'm very tempted to put a wide set of steel rims on, just a nice really wide set, something that I can put say a 245 tyre on, rather than a mag. I was going to put 12 sliders on it, but man, if these are genuine, if these are like the hubcap for this car, these are going on it. That's the reason why, you know, I really enjoy doing the cars. It's pretty much because you're taking something old and worn out and you're beautifying it again, and you know, pretty much, you know, giving it a new lease of life. And it's just the same as these, you know. Look at that. Look at that. They are stunning. Yeah, I love them. I absolutely love them. Okay, it's time to weld that back on. If you remember, I had to cut it off in this section here, and I bent a plate up to get it out of the road. Just clean all those up and clean that back weld up, that back edge up, so I can weld it back on. It fits well. I'm not even going to bother grinding that off because it's got that plate over the top and you never ever see it. Okay, first what I'm going to do is I'm going to do very similar to that type of arrangement. I'm going to cut that off there and just have a square edge, and then I'm going to basically replace all the rusty section there, cut that off, and I'm just going to do a straight run up there and taper it out at the windscreen. And I've got a bit of rust up there which looks thin. I'm going to take that spot weld off. Oh, if I can go like that. Okay, before I carry on with the rust repair there, I am going to grind that off, clean it up, clean up those spot welds there. There's another bracket that has to go on top. There's another bracket that has to go on top here, so, which I totally forgot about. Okay, so I've just got that tacked on. Okay, to flip the car upside down, it's pretty simple. You just have to jack it up a little bit on the rotisserie. There's hydraulic jacks that jack it up. It just lifts it up so there's enough clearance to get the roof past there's a cross member bar down the bottom there. Pull the safety out. Homemade safeties, of course, and pretty much just one finger. This is a device that Adam rigged up for us, an old flywheel, and it just turns itself. You could almost turn it like this, you know. It is that perfectly balanced. You know, you can turn it with one hand like that, or you can crank it, and there you go. Safety back in, and that's it. I just want to get a weld under that. Okay, that's good. Okay, so that's really good. I saved that. I just got it in the right time. I could have easily forgotten that plate. So I'm going to start onto this, replace that piece there, that I cut out earlier. And just work my way up. Follow our nose on this one really. Wing it. There are no rules. So got that patched in there quite nicely, so beautiful. The whole thing's covered. The whole patch. All that good work. Down the final stretch of this the plenum cover rust repair side. So I've inserted this piece of steel. I've marked it on the bottom where I'm going to cut it off on the lip. I'm marking along there. I've got a patch in this section now, which is a tricky little piece because it's got sort of it sort of splays on an angle, and we've got different angles and shapes and whatnot. So I'm just going to sort of weld and tap and grind and just fit a piece in there. Alright, so I've got this flappy piece here all figured out. I've got that tacked in, and I'm going to just tack that in and then just tack it to the edge like I did on the last couple. And I'm just going to weld that in, and job's done. Up there, it's not original, doesn't matter, still does exactly the same job. And could be said that there's less metal there to rust. Well, there we have it. We're all done on this side, except I've still got to put the brackets on. I've just painted the underside of the bracket that goes across there, and well, painted it, POR 15'd it, and I've POR 15'd under there. Beautiful. These spot welds in here are really tricky because you've got that metal lip there you've got to protect, and you've also got your plenum cover there, which you don't want to grind any steel away on that either. So you've just got to get the grinder in there and just feather it across the top of the spot welds. Well, as you can see, guys, I've got this plenum all finished. It's been a big job, but I want to get into primer. I want to primer everything that I've done, but there's absolutely no point in doing that until I can clean this engine bay down and sand that back. There's a couple of holes that I've welded up. I might call it quits now for the filming of the plenum. These are all on. I've started to sort of sand back all of the steel and going to sand the whole plenum, all of these rails. Going to sand this POR 15 down a little. Sort of basically keyed in, so when I spray the 2-pack primer over it, it'll stick to it. And yeah, so this is beautiful. It's a really great result. All up in here is all nice, and I just can't wait to get it all into primer, and so that'll be the whole front end finished. I'm going to try a product called All You Need. Technically you can spray it straight onto bare metal, but I don't have any at the minute and I don't want this to rust, so I'm going to get it into primer. I've actually got to do the door panels for Pete and a little adjustment on the rear seat bolster, so I'll get this into primer first and then I'll get into onto Pete's job. And you know, it's been so hard to get out here because summer I just haven't realised how busy it was going to be on this job. I'm actually working at HMAS Cerberus, which is a Navy base down in just sort of south of Hastings at a place called Crib Point, and they're huge days. You know, we're doing 10-hour days plus it's about an hour travel back and forth, and because they're big days, they're really tiring. You know, it's full-on concentration all day, and you know, if it was just like, you know, basic earth moving, it would be easy, but this stuff's technical, and it's you know, a lot of care needs to be taken. There's services in the ground, and yeah, so I come home each night and I'm absolutely poked. So it makes it hard to come out here in the shed, which I was hoping to do, but you know, by the time winter comes, we are going to get a few more rain days, which will be great. Love my rain days, so come home into the shed. Yeah, so it's, you know, the job, it's bloody pays well, but bloody hell, it's killing me. It's taking all my time away from the car. You know, in recent years I've had no money and plenty of time, but now I've got no time and a bit more money. So I suppose it's good in some ways. So look, anyway, I'm going to call this quits now and go inside. I've been watching. I just discovered an old guy, and I think he lives in Belgium. I actually haven't done any research on, you know, his location or even his name. He's rebuilding an old, really rusty old Citroen U23 truck made in the Second World War for the Germans in France, and jeepers, it's a mess. But you know, and he's got a couple of great tools. He's got an English wheel, and he's also got a folding machine, which also he can cut his sheets. He can fold them only to 90 degrees, and it's got a little sort of a roller as well on top. It's, yeah, so it could be worth a look. He's a lovely guy, and you know, dry sense of humour, which is, you know, always appealing to me. And yeah, so he calls it Old Rusty, so if you maybe YouTube that. He's doing some great work on that.
Well, she's all rubbed back, ready to go. Just going to give it a blow off with the air. Of course, that was primed. I've sanded that was primed. I did that to prevent rust on the radiator support panel, but everything else is basically back to bare metal. There's a few little bits and pieces that I just can't get to, but just prime over those. But yeah, I've got pretty much everything. And the good thing about spraying the engine bay and the rotisserie is that you can get underneath all of the tricky little spots and make sure you get good coverage, you know, even under this lip here, you know, just everywhere that you really need paint. And, you know, under those areas there that, where are we? Yeah, under those areas there, which is on the firewall, you know, in the factory that was really light on, it was just a dust basically, you know, whereas now I can get paint all the way under. So yeah, so time to blow it off, squirt it off, give it a good wash down with Prepsol, and get that two pack on there.
starting to warm up now, so I'm going to go inside and edit this video for you guys, get it up. I'll call that finished. Alright guys, well thanks for indulging me on this plenum repair. It's 3 videos, so this will bring to an end video 19. Of course part 3 of the plenum, and time to start thinking about doing other things. So anyway, I'll leave you to it. Thank you guys. I'll turn this camera around.